I found them on a Tuesday. Not in bed like you'd expect. Not in some sleazy motel room with fingerprints on the mirror and guilt-soaked sheets. No, I found my wife Monica and her half-brother Tyler on our kitchen island, the same one I'd installed myself 2 summers ago, sweating through a weekend while she complained about the granite color. The security camera I'd hidden in the smoke detector captured everything in grainy black and white perfection. His hands under her shirt, her head thrown back. The coffee maker I'd programmed that morning blinking 3:47 a.m. in the corner of the frame. I watched it 3 times before my hands stopped shaking enough to pour a drink. "Adam, you're home early," Monica said when I walked through the door that evening. She was chopping vegetables like nothing had happened, like she hadn't been grinding against her half-brother on the counter where we ate breakfast. "Traffic was light," I said. Tyler emerged from the hallway, hair still wet from a shower. My shower, using my water and my towel in the house I paid for. "Hey, man," he said, that easy smile plastered across his face. "Monica invited me to stay a few days. Hope that's cool." I looked at my wife. She wouldn't meet my eyes. "Sure," I said. "Family's always welcome." The word tasted like copper in my mouth. I'd installed the cameras 3 weeks earlier after Dave Feldman from work mentioned he'd caught his teenager sneaking out using a home security system. "Simple setup," he'd said. "Professional grade, invisible to anyone who wasn't looking for them." "Cost me $400, Dave had said over lunch, "but worth every penny. Kids think they're so smart, but technology's smarter." I'd nodded, thinking about Monica's late nights at the office, the way she'd started password protecting her phone, how she flinched when I touched her, like my hands were made of ice. "Where'd you get the system?" I'd asked. Dave had written down a website on a napkin. 3 days later, 5 cameras arrived at my office in discreet packaging. I'd installed them on a Saturday while Monica was at her mother's, placing them in smoke detectors, air vents, and the corner of a bookshelf. Invisible if you weren't looking. Omniscient if you were. I'd been looking for proof of late nights at the office. Maybe proof she was spending too much money. I'd found something else entirely. The footage went back 19 days. I spent that first night in my home office, door locked, watching my marriage decompose in high definition. They thought I was working on quarterly reports. I was cataloging betrayal. Kitchen, living room, guest bedroom. They'd been careful about the master bedroom, I'd give them that. Some vestige of conscience, maybe. Or maybe they just liked the thrill of doing it where I might catch them. Day 1. Tyler arrived at 9:15 a.m., 15 minutes after I left for work. He didn't leave until 4:30 p.m. Day 3. They ordered Chinese food and ate it on the couch, his arm around her shoulders. She laughed at something he said, that genuine laugh I hadn't heard in months. Day 7. Tyler's hand on her thigh during dinner while I talked about a client meeting. I'd been 3 feet away, completely oblivious. Day 12. They waited exactly 4 minutes after I left for work before his truck pulled back into the driveway. 4 minutes, like they'd timed it. Day 16. Monica laughed at something Tyler said, that genuine laugh I hadn't heard in months, maybe years. Her head thrown back, hand on his chest, the way she used to laugh with me when we first started dating. Day 19. The kitchen island. 3:47 a.m. I'd been asleep upstairs 30 feet above them. I made copies. 3 USB drives, each one stored in a different location. One in my office desk drawer, hidden under a stack of old tax returns. One in my gym locker, taped to the underside of the top shelf. One in a safe deposit box I opened that week, telling the bank teller I needed it for important documents. "Very wise," she'd said, an older woman with kind eyes and a wedding ring that had worn a groove into her finger. "You'd be surprised how many people don't protect their valuables." I'd smiled like I was thinking about jewelry and stocks. "Can't be too careful," I'd said. She'd nodded approvingly, processing my paperwork with efficient hands. Patricia Wells had a corner office with a view that probably cost more than my car. 32nd floor, glass walls, furniture that looked like it belonged in a museum. Monica's cousin had recommended her, back when Monica first started dropping hints about needing space and losing herself in the marriage. "Patricia's a shark," the cousin had said at a family barbecue. "She got my friend Karen everything in her divorce: house, car, even the dog." Monica had laughed and said something about not needing a lawyer, but I'd seen the look in her eyes: interest, calculation, like she was filing the information away for later use. That had been 6 months ago. Now here I was, sitting across from Rita Chang in her modest office above a dry cleaner, the smell of cleaning chemicals drifting up through the vents. Rita didn't have a view. She had a single window that looked out onto an alley, metal desk that had seen better decades, and a reputation for being ruthless when clients underestimated her. "Your wife hired Patricia Wells," Rita said, reviewing the papers I'd brought. "That's interesting." "Why interesting?" "Because Wells doesn't come cheap. $400 an hour, minimum retainer of $10,000. Where's Monica getting that kind of money?" I shrugged. "Her mother, probably. Or Tyler." Rita looked up. "Tyler?" "The half-brother she's sleeping with." "Right." Rita made a note on her legal pad. "How long has that been going on?" "At least 3 weeks, probably longer." "And you have proof?" I pulled out one of the USB drives and slid it across her desk. She plugged it into her computer and watched in silence for 3 minutes. When she ejected the drive, her expression hadn't changed. "This is admissible," she said. "It's your house. You have a right to install security cameras. The footage is time-stamped and clear. Patricia Wells is going to have a hard time explaining this away. So I'll win the divorce." "You'll win the divorce," Rita confirmed. "But is that what you want? Just the divorce?" I leaned back in my chair. The leather was cracked, comfortable in a worn-down way. "What else is there?" "That depends on what you're after. Some clients want closure, some want revenge, some just want to move on as quickly as possible. Which one are you?" I thought about Monica laughing with Tyler, about the way she flinched when I touched her, about 2 years of marriage dissolving into lies and late-night encounters on my kitchen island. "I want them to understand what they've done," I said. Rita was quiet for a moment. Then she closed the folder and met my eyes. "I'm your divorce attorney. Anything else you're planning, I don't need to know about it. But I'll tell you this. The legal system is designed to split assets and move on. It's not designed for justice. Not the kind you're thinking about." "Good thing I'm not relying on the legal system," I said. "No," she agreed. "I don't think you are. Just be smart about it, Adam. Don't do anything that could come back on you legally." "I won't. And don't underestimate Patricia Wells. She's expensive for a reason. She'll look for any angle to discredit you or the evidence." "Let her look," I said. "Everything I've done is legal. Everything I have is documented. She can't fight facts." Rita smiled, thin and sharp. "Facts don't matter as much as you'd think in divorce court. But in this case?" "Yeah, the facts are pretty damning. We'll file next week. Give you time to get your affairs in order." "My affairs are already in order," I said. "Then give Monica time to get hers in order," Rita said. "She's going to need it." I didn't confront them immediately. That would have been too easy, too clean. Instead, I watched. I documented. I built a case so airtight that even Patricia Wells wouldn't be able to poke holes in it. Monica thought I was oblivious. That's what 2 years of marriage had taught her. That I was the kind of man who worked late, trusted blindly, never questioned anything. The pushover husband who installed kitchen islands and didn't complain when she spent $300 on shoes. She was wrong. I'd always been observant. I'd just never had a reason to use those skills on her before. Now I noticed everything. The way she tilted her phone away when I walked into a room. How she'd started wearing perfume on days she said she was going to the gym. The hickey she'd covered with makeup, poorly, thinking I wouldn't notice. I noticed everything. Tyler was easier to read. He thought we were friends, or some version of friends. He'd slap me on the shoulder and ask about work, tell stories about his job at the sporting goods chain, drink my beer, and eat my food, all while sleeping with my wife. "You're a good guy, Adam," he said one night over dinner. Monica had cooked, some elaborate pasta dish she'd found online. Not many guys would let their wife's family crash like this. "Family's important," I said, watching Monica's face. She wouldn't look at either of us. "Still, I appreciate it. Times are tough right now, you know? Companies cracking down on expenses, threatening layoffs. Having a place to stay helps a lot." "How long do you think you'll need to stay?" I asked. Monica's fork clattered against her plate. "Adam." "What? I'm just asking. Tyler's got his own place, right?" "Lease ended," Tyler said easily. "Month to month right now while I figure out what's next." "Why, you trying to kick me out?" He said it like a joke. I smiled like I was joking too. "Of course not. Stay as long as you need." That night the cameras caught them in the guest bedroom. 43 minutes, starting at 11:20 p.m. I was asleep in the master bedroom, 20 feet away. The walls in our house were thick enough that I never heard anything. I added it to my documentation: date, time, location, building a timeline that would destroy them both. Tyler worked as a regional manager for a sporting goods chain, spending most of his time visiting different stores and filing reports. Lots of autonomy, lots of trust from corporate. I'd always thought he had a cushy setup. His boss was named Jennifer Hartley, and she'd been with the company for 15 years. I found her work email through some light online searching. LinkedIn made it easy. People put their whole professional lives online now, thinking it was networking. "Ms. Hartley," I wrote from an anonymous email account I'd created specifically for this purpose. "I thought you should be aware that Tyler Morton has been misrepresenting his whereabouts on company time. I have documented evidence that he has been at my residence during work hours on multiple occasions over the past 3 weeks, claiming to be conducting store visits. I'm happy to provide timestamps and footage if needed. I'm sending this anonymously because I don't want to be involved in company politics, but I thought you should know your employee is stealing time and lying about his location. Check his GPS logs if you don't believe me." I attached 3 carefully selected screenshots showing Tyler's truck in my driveway at times when, according to his social media posts, he should have been 200 miles away visiting a store in the Northern District. His own Instagram had provided the evidence. He'd posted pictures from stores he'd supposedly visited, but the timestamps didn't match the camera footage of his truck sitting in my driveway. People were so careless with technology. They thought social media was a highlight reel, never realizing it was also a confession. I sent the email at 6 a.m. on a Monday morning, timed so it would be one of the first things Jennifer Hartley saw when she logged in. Then I deleted the anonymous account and went to work like nothing had happened. 3 days later, Tyler came home fuming. "Some asshole sent pictures to my boss," he snarled, throwing his keys on the counter hard enough to chip the granite. "Now I'm under investigation for time theft. They're pulling my GPS records, checking my expense reports. They're treating me like a criminal." Monica looked up from her phone, face going pale. "What? Who would do that?" Tyler glared at me. I was reading the newspaper, or pretending to. The financial section, appropriately enough. "I don't know, Monica. Who would do that?" I looked at him over the top of the paper. "Do what?" "You know exactly what," he said, taking a step toward the table. "I know you've been lying to your employer," I said calmly. "That's what I know. Maybe you shouldn't have been spending your workdays screwing my wife." The newspaper was still up, a barrier between us. I kept my voice level, almost bored. That was important. Emotional reactions could be used against you later. Tyler took another step forward. "You smug piece of—" "Careful," I interrupted, lowering the paper just enough to meet his eyes. "Monica's already facing adultery charges in the divorce. You really want to add assault to your problems?" He stopped, jaw clenched so tight I could see the muscles jumping. Monica grabbed his arm. "Tyler, don't," she said. "He's trying to provoke you." "Smart woman," I said, going back to my newspaper. Too bad that wisdom didn't kick in 3 weeks ago. Or was it longer? The cameras only go back 19 days, but I'm betting this has been going on a while. You put cameras in the house? Monica's voice went up an octave. You've been spying on us? I put cameras in my house, I corrected. For security purposes. What you chose to do in front of those cameras is your business. Well, your business, and now Patricia Wells' business, and Rita Chang's business, and eventually a judge's business. You're insane, Monica said. No, I said. I'm thorough. There's a difference. Tyler pulled away from Monica's grip. You're going to regret this. I already regret plenty, I said. Marrying someone who'd cheat with her half-brother, for instance. That's a pretty big regret. But sending an anonymous email to your boss about documented time theft? That I don't regret at all. He looked like he wanted to hit me. Part of me wished he would. Assault charges would make the divorce even easier. But he wasn't that stupid. He grabbed his jacket and stormed out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the windows. Monica stared at me. What happened to you? You did, I said. This is what happens when someone stops being nice. Patricia Wells sent the first volley of legal threats 2 days later. A thick envelope delivered by courier, the kind of delivery that was designed to intimidate. Official looking, expensive, screaming, "You're in trouble now." I opened it at my kitchen table, the same table where I'd eaten dinner with Monica and Tyler, pretending everything was fine. The letter was 8 pages of dense legal language that basically boiled down to, give Monica half of everything or we'll drag you through court and make it expensive and humiliating. There were demands for financial disclosure, lists of assets, proposals for division of property. Patricia Wells wanted bank statements, tax returns, investment portfolios, retirement accounts. She wanted documentation of every penny I'd earned during the marriage. And she wanted the house. That made me laugh. Actually laugh, sitting alone at my kitchen table. Monica wanted the house she'd defiled with her half-brother, the house where I'd found them on the kitchen island, the house I'd bought before we got married, with my money, my down payment, my name on the deed. She wanted it because Patricia Wells had told her she could get it. I called Rita an hour after the courier left. I got Wells' first offer, I said. And? It's aggressive. That's her style. She comes in hard, makes demands she knows are unreasonable, hopes you'll panic and settle somewhere in the middle. It's a negotiating tactic. I'm not negotiating, I said. Good. Because she's bluffing. I've seen her do this before. Wells knows the adultery evidence kills any sympathy Monica might have gotten from a judge. She's hoping you don't know that. I know that. Then we're fine. I'm filing a counterpetition today. Full custody of assets based on marital misconduct. We're asking for Monica to cover your legal fees too, since her infidelity caused the divorce. Will we get it? Probably not all of it. But it'll scare Monica. Wells charges $400 an hour, remember? Monica doesn't have that kind of money. She's probably already $10,000 in the hole just from the retainer. Her mother's paying for it, I said. Or Tyler. Tyler's about to be unemployed, Rita pointed out. And mothers have limits. Trust me, when the bills start piling up and Wells isn't delivering the results she promised, Monica's support network is going to crumble. How long will that take? Couple weeks, maybe a month. Depends on how stubborn Monica is. She's pretty stubborn, I said. So are you, Rita said. That's why you hired me. Monica got the counterpetition 3 days later. I was at work when it happened, but Tyler called me, which was a first. I almost didn't answer. His name on my caller ID made my skin crawl, but curiosity won out. You're really doing this? He asked without preamble. You're going to drag her through court? She dragged herself through court, I said. I was in my office, door closed, privacy assured. I'm just holding the door open. She's your wife, man. Doesn't that mean anything to you? It meant something to me, I said. Past tense. Does it mean something to you? Because last I checked, You were the one sleeping with your half-sister, he snapped. I'd heard this line before, from both of them, like it was a magic incantation that made everything okay. Everyone keeps saying that like it makes it less disgusting, I said. You grew up together, didn't you? Family reunions and Christmas dinners, birthday parties and Thanksgiving? He was quiet. That's what I thought, I said. Look, Tyler, I don't care what you and Monica do now. You want to be together? Great. Be together. Just do it somewhere that isn't my house and isn't on my dime. She doesn't have anywhere else to go, he said. There was something in his voice I hadn't heard before. Desperation, maybe. Fear. Then I guess you'd better figure something out, I said. Because she's got until the end of the month, and then I'm changing the locks. You can't do that. It's her house too. Actually, it's not. My name is on the deed. Solo. I bought it before we got married. Check with Patricia Wells if you don't believe me. You're a real bastard, you know that? Probably, I agreed. But I'm the bastard who owns the house. You're just the guy who slept with his half-sister in it. I know which one I'd rather be. I hung up before he could respond. Tyler got fired on a Thursday. I found out before Monica did. Jennifer Hartley sent a company-wide email about the importance of integrity and honest time reporting. She didn't name Tyler specifically, but she didn't have to. Everyone knew. The rumors had been spreading through the company for days. Tyler Morton falsifying location reports, claiming to be at store visits while actually shacked up with his girlfriend. People loved gossip, especially when it involved someone getting what they deserved. Monica told me about it that evening, through the locked bedroom door. I'd moved into the guest room 2 days earlier, unwilling to sleep in the same bed where she'd probably entertained Tyler while I was at work. The guest room had its own lock now, installed by yours truly. They fired him, Adam. Her voice was thick with tears. They fired him because of what you did. They fired him because he committed time theft, I said, folding a shirt. I was reorganizing my clothes, separating mine from the his and hers matching sets she'd bought last Christmas. That's on him, not me. You sent that email. You got him fired. I sent an anonymous email with documented facts. What his employer chose to do with those facts is their decision, not mine. You're destroying our lives. I opened the door. She was standing there in one of my old t-shirts, mascara running down her face. She looked small and broken, nothing like the confident woman who'd thrown her marriage away for cheap thrills with her half-brother. No, Monica, I said quietly. You destroyed your life. I'm just making sure I'm not buried in the rubble. I loved you, she whispered. You had a funny way of showing it. We could fix this. We could go to counseling, work through it. People do it all the time. I stared at her. You're not serious. I am, she said, reaching for my hand. I pulled away. Adam, please. I made a mistake. I know that now. But we can get past this. People do it all the time. We can go to therapy, rebuild trust. People do it all the time, I repeated. Tell me something, Monica. When exactly did you decide it was a mistake? When I caught you? When the divorce papers showed up? Or when Tyler lost his job and suddenly couldn't afford to take care of you anymore? She flinched like I'd slapped her. That's not fair. None of this is fair, I said. Fair would have been you not cheating on me. Fair would have been you respecting our marriage. Fair would have been a lot of things that didn't happen. Now you want me to be fair? To give you another chance after you gave yourself to someone else? You're being cruel, she said. I'm being honest, maybe for the first time in months. She wiped her eyes, smearing the mascara even worse. What happened to you? You used to be kind. I was kind, I agreed, and you mistook that for weakness. You thought I'd never find out, or that if I did, I'd roll over and take it. That's not kindness, Monica. That's stupidity, and I'm done being stupid. So what now? She asked. You're just going to throw away 2 years of marriage? You threw it away, I corrected. I'm just taking out the trash. I didn't plan to tell people. I really didn't. The details of my marriage, the surveillance footage, Monica's affair with Tyler, that was private. Embarrassing for all of us. The kind of thing you kept quiet and dealt with behind closed doors. But Monica's version of events had spread through our social circle like wildfire, and I was tired of being painted as the villain. According to Monica's story, I was controlling and paranoid. I'd installed secret cameras to spy on her because I was jealous and insecure. I'd gotten Tyler fired because I was vindictive. I'd filed for divorce because I couldn't handle a woman who wanted independence. It was all lies, but people believed her. Or at least, they pretended to believe her because taking sides in a divorce was awkward and uncomfortable. So when Sarah cornered me at the grocery store on a Saturday morning, blocking my cart with hers and launching into a speech about how I needed to be more understanding, something in me snapped. "Monica made mistakes," Sarah said, her voice dripping with that condescending sympathy people used when they thought they were being helpful. "But marriage is about forgiveness. You can't just throw everything away because of one argument." "One argument," I repeated. "She told me you accused her of cheating. That's a serious accusation, Adam. You can't just throw that around without proof." "You're right," I said. "That would be irresponsible." I pulled out my phone, found the video file I'd saved specifically for this purpose, and handed it to her. "What's this?" she asked. "Proof," I said. "Watch it." She looked confused but took the phone. I watched her face as the video played, 30 seconds of Monica and Tyler on my kitchen island, bodies intertwined, no room for misinterpretation. The color drained from Sarah's face. She watched for maybe 15 seconds before shoving the phone back at me like it had burned her. "Oh my God," she breathed. "That's Monica and Tyler," I said, keeping my voice level and calm. "In case you were wondering why I'm being unreasonable, I didn't. She said you were being controlling, that you were accusing her of things." "I'm not accusing her of anything," I said. "I'm stating facts. Facts I have documented evidence of. 3 weeks of evidence, actually. Cameras in 5 different locations. Would you like to see more?" "No!" Sarah looked like she might be sick. "No, I don't. Adam, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. She said you were—" "She lied," I said simply. "She's been lying to everyone. Spinning a story where she's the victim and I'm the bad guy. But the truth is a lot less flattering. Does anyone else know?" "You're the first person outside my lawyer I've shown the footage to," I said. "But it's going to come out in the divorce proceedings, so if Monica's telling people I'm making false accusations, you might want to tell her to stop before she commits perjury." Sarah nodded slowly, her hands shaking slightly as she gripped her cart. "I should go. I need to— I'm sorry, Adam, I really am." "It's not your fault," I said. "You didn't know, but now you do. And maybe you can tell the others. Save me the trouble of having to explain it repeatedly." She left without buying anything, abandoning her cart in the middle of the aisle. I finished my shopping, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. Word spread faster than I expected. Sarah told someone, who told someone else, who told 3 more people. By Monday, everyone knew. The text messages stopped. The Facebook posts defending Monica disappeared. The invitations to talk things out evaporated overnight. Nobody wanted to be associated with the woman who'd cheated on her husband with her half-brother. Nobody wanted to defend that. Monica's support network collapsed in 72 hours. Patricia Wells called Rita with a new settlement offer by Wednesday. "She's willing to walk away with her personal possessions and $10,000, Rita said when she called me at work. "No alimony, no claim on the house. She just wants out." "Why the change of heart?" I asked, though I knew the answer. "Because she knows she'll lose in court. The adultery evidence is damning, and now the story's getting around. Wells doesn't want to be associated with a losing case, bad for her reputation." "Tell her 15,000, I said, "and Monica signs a non-disclosure agreement about the marriage." Rita was silent for a moment. "You want to buy her silence?" "I want to buy my privacy. I've already been humiliated enough. I don't need Monica writing a blog or giving interviews about how I was a terrible husband. 15,000 and an NDA, or we go to court and she gets nothing. This is more generous than she deserves, Rita said. I know, I said, but I'm ready for this to be over. Every day she's in my life is another day I can't move forward. 15,000 is a small price to pay for freedom. I'll send the offer, Rita said. Wells will probably take it. Monica's running out of money and Tyler's broke. They don't have the resources for a court battle. Good, I said. Let's end this. We met at Rita's office on a Tuesday morning, exactly 6 weeks after I'd found them on the kitchen island. The symmetry felt appropriate somehow, beginning and ending on a Tuesday, like the universe had a sense of ironic timing. Monica sat across from me, Patricia Wells at her side, both of them stone-faced and professional. Monica had lost weight, I noticed, dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a severe ponytail. She looked tired, used up, like someone who'd gambled everything and lost. The terms are clear, Rita said, sliding the paperwork across the table. Mrs. Morton receives $15,000 and her personal property. Mr. Morton keeps the house, the car, and all other marital assets. In exchange, both parties sign a non-disclosure agreement regarding the circumstances of the divorce. Neither party will discuss the details publicly on social media or with any media outlets. Violation of the NDA results in immediate repayment of the $15,000 plus legal fees. Patricia Wells reviewed the documents, lips pressed into a thin line. She'd probably never handled a settlement this one-sided before. She signed a few pages, pointed out signature lines to Monica, and maintained her professional composure. But I could see the frustration in the way she gripped her pen. This is acceptable, Wells said finally. Monica signed without a word, her hand shaking slightly. Each signature was a small defeat, another acknowledgement that she'd lost. When it was done, she looked up at me for the first time since we'd entered the room. I hope you're happy, she said. I'm not, I admitted. But I will be. Eventually. She stood up, gathering her purse. For what it's worth, I really did love you. Once. Once wasn't enough, I said. Patricia Wells ushered her out quickly after that, probably afraid Monica would say something that violated the NDA before the ink dried. Rita and I sat in silence for a moment after they left, the only sound the hum of the fluorescent lights overhead. How do you feel? Rita asked. Tired, I said. Mostly tired. That's normal. This process is exhausting, even when you win. Did I win? I asked. It doesn't feel like winning. You got everything you wanted, Rita pointed out. The house, the assets, your freedom. Monica and Tyler both paid consequences for what they did. That's about as close to winning as divorce gets. I guess so. Rita leaned back in her chair. Can I give you some unsolicited advice? Sure. Don't let this make you bitter. You're angry now, and you have every right to be. But carrying that anger around forever, that'll poison the rest of your life. At some point, you need to let it go and move forward. When does that happen? I asked. When you're ready, she said. Could be tomorrow, could be a year from now. Everyone's different. Just don't rush it, and don't pretend you're over it when you're not. That's how people end up making the same mistakes again. I'm not making the same mistakes, I said. Good, Rita said. Then you've already learned something from this. That's more than most people can say. I saw Tyler one last time, completely by accident. I was leaving the gym on a Thursday evening, sweaty and exhausted from an hour on the weights, when I spotted him getting into a beat-up Honda in the parking lot. Not the truck he'd been so proud of. That had been repossessed 2 weeks after he got fired. The Honda looked like it had seen better decades, rust spots on the hood, duct tape holding the side mirror on, a crack in the windshield that spiderwebbed across the passenger side. He saw me at the same moment I saw him. For a second, I thought he might drive away. Instead, he parked and got out, walking over to where I stood by my car. Adam, he said. Tyler. We stood there awkwardly, two men who'd shared a woman and now had nothing to say to each other. He looked rough, unshaved, rumpled clothes, the kind of exhaustion that came from too many nights sleeping poorly and too many days worrying about money. "I'm moving," he said finally. "Montana. My cousin's got a construction company out there. Says he can get me on a crew." "Good luck with that," I said. "Monica's coming with me," he added, like he needed me to know. Like he wanted to prove they were still together, that what they had was real and worth all the destruction. "Okay. You really don't care, do you?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. 2 months ago, the idea of Monica and Tyler together would have made me physically ill. Now? "No," I said. "I really don't. What you two do now is your business. You're not my problem anymore." He nodded slowly, processing that. "For what it's worth, I never meant—" "Don't," I interrupted. "Whatever you're about to say, just don't. You meant it. She meant it. It happened. That's all that matters." "You really changed, man." "No," I said. "I just stopped pretending to be someone I wasn't. There's a difference." He shifted his weight from foot to foot, clearly uncomfortable but not quite ready to leave. "Do you hate us?" "I did," I said honestly. "For a while I really did. But hate takes energy, and I don't have any left to spare on you two. I'm too busy rebuilding my life." "Monica said you were the one who got me fired." "I sent an anonymous email with factual information about time theft," I corrected. "Your company made the decision to fire you based on that information. That's on them, not me." "You knew what would happen." "I knew there would be consequences," I agreed. "But you knew that too when you decided to skip work to sleep with my wife. You just thought you wouldn't get caught." Tyler's jaw tightened. "You think you're so smart, don't you? You think you won." "I don't think I won," I said. "I think I survived. There's a difference." He stared at me for a long moment, then shook his head. "Montana's going to be good for us. Fresh start, away from all this." "I hope it works out," I said, and I meant it. Not because I forgave them or because I wanted them to be happy, but because I wanted them gone. Far away, living their lives, not haunting mine. "Do you really?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "Because if you're happy in Montana, you won't come back here. And if you don't come back here, I never have to think about you again. That's the best possible outcome for everyone." He got back in his car without another word. I watched him drive away, the Honda belching blue smoke from the exhaust, and I felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, nothing. They'd taken enough from me. I wasn't giving them anything else, not even my hatred. The house felt different after Monica left. Bigger, somehow. Quieter. I'd thought I'd be lonely, rattling around in all that space by myself, but mostly I felt relieved. Like I'd been holding my breath for months and could finally exhale. I changed the locks on a Wednesday, hiring a locksmith who didn't ask questions about why I needed new locks on every door. He just did the work, tested each key twice, and left me with a receipt and a sense of security I hadn't felt in months. Thursday, I hired a cleaning service to deep clean every room. Professional grade stuff. They moved furniture, scrubbed baseboards, shampooed carpets. I wanted every trace of Monica gone. Every strand of hair, every fingerprint, every molecule of her perfume erased from my house. Friday, I bought new furniture for the living room. The couch where she'd sat with Tyler, gone. The coffee table where they'd shared wine while I worked late, replaced. I wasn't trying to forget what happened. That was impossible. But I didn't need physical reminders every time I walked through my front door. Dave Feldman from work invited me out for drinks that weekend. "How you holding up?" he asked, sliding a beer across the table. We were at a sports bar near the office, the kind of place with too many TVs and not enough lighting. "Better than expected," I said honestly. "That's the surveillance system guy talking. Dave said with a grin. See? I told you that setup was worth it. You did, I agreed. Though I wish I'd been wrong about what I'd find. Better to know than not know, Dave said, his smile fading. My kid was just sneaking out to meet her boyfriend. Stupid teenager stuff. But if it had been something worse, drugs or bad people or something dangerous, I'd want to know that too. Knowledge is power, right? Something like that, I said, taking a long drink. We drank in comfortable silence for a while, watching a basketball game neither of us cared about. Then Dave asked, "So what now? You going to start dating again?" "Eventually," I said. "Not yet. I need to figure out who I am without her first. 2 years of marriage changes you. I need to remember who I was before Monica, or figure out who I am after her. Something." "That's smart," Dave said. "Most guys jump right back in. Then they're surprised when they make the same mistakes." "I'm not going to make the same mistakes," I said. "I'm going to make brand new ones." He laughed at that, a genuine sound that made me smile despite everything. "That's the spirit. Hey, my sister's single, you know. Emily. She's a teacher. Smart as hell. Doesn't take crap from anyone." "I'm not ready for that," I said. "I know," Dave said. "But when you are ready, let me know. She could use a decent guy, and you could use someone who's not insane." "Fair enough." We stayed until the game ended, talking about work and weekend plans and anything except divorce and betrayal. Normal conversation between normal people. It felt good. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I was eating breakfast at the kitchen island. Yes, the same one, because I refused to let them take that from me, too, when my doorbell rang. It was Sarah, Monica's former best friend. "Adam," she said, looking uncomfortable. "I hope I'm not intruding." "What do you need, Sarah?" She held up a cardboard box, medium-sized and taped shut. "I was going through my storage unit and found some of Monica's things, photo albums mostly, stuff she left at my place before everything happened. I thought you might want them." I took the box, surprised by its weight. "Thanks." She hesitated, shifting from foot to foot. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure. Are you happy, now that it's over?" I thought about the question, really thought about it. "I'm not happy," I said finally. "But I'm not miserable either. I'm just here, living my life, figuring things out. That's something," she said. "Yeah," I agreed. "It is." After she left, I opened the box. Photo albums from our wedding, vacations we'd taken, holidays at her mother's house. Monica smiling in every picture, that same smile she'd given Tyler in the surveillance footage. I wondered if any of it had been real, or if she'd been acting the whole time. Then I realized it didn't matter. Real or fake, it was over now. I couldn't change what happened. I could only control what happened next. I took the albums to the garage and put them on a shelf, next to old paint cans and tools I never used. Maybe someday I'd look through them. Maybe I'd throw them away. But for now, they could sit there, gathering dust with all the other things I didn't need but couldn't quite throw away. I had better things to do. Work had picked up. I'd thrown myself into projects, staying late and taking on extra responsibilities. My boss had noticed. "You're doing good work, Adam," he'd said last week. "Really good work. Keep this up and we'll talk about that promotion in January." The promotion I'd been chasing for 2 years, the one Monica had complained about, saying I cared more about work than her. Maybe she'd been right, or maybe I'd just been trying to build something stable while she was busy tearing it down. Either way, the promotion was mine now. My success, my achievement, nobody else's. 4 months after the divorce, Dave made good on his promise to introduce me to his sister. "Just coffee," he said. "No pressure, no expectations. Emily's curious about you, and I think you two would get along." "I don't know," I said. "I'm not sure I'm ready." "You'll never be ready," Dave said. That's not how it works. You just wake up one day and realize you've been ready for a while, you just didn't notice. Come on. What's the worst that could happen? You have coffee with a nice woman and nothing comes of it? He had a point. Emily met me at a cafe downtown on a Saturday morning. She was tall, maybe 5'8", with dark hair pulled into a messy bun and glasses that made her look simultaneously professional and approachable. "You're Adam," she said, extending her hand. "I've heard a lot about you." "All good things, I hope." "Dave said you survived a messy divorce and didn't become an alcoholic or a hermit, which apparently makes you a catch in the world of divorced 30-somethings. I laughed, despite myself. "The bar is that low, huh?" "You'd be surprised," she said. "I'm a middle school teacher. I've heard every excuse and every sob story. Most people just want sympathy. You seem like you actually dealt with your problems." "I'm dealing with them," I corrected. "Present tense. It's still a work in progress." "Honest," she said. "I like that." We talked for 2 hours. She told me about her job, about the challenges of teaching kids who were more interested in their phones than multiplication tables. I told her about my work, about the promotion I was chasing, about rebuilding my life one piece at a time. I didn't tell her about Monica and Tyler, not the details anyway, just that my marriage had ended badly and I was working through it. "Dave said your ex cheated," Emily said, stirring her third cup of coffee. "I'm sorry. That's brutal." "It was," I agreed. "But it's over now." "Is it? Over, I mean?" "Legally, yes. Emotionally," I shrugged. "I'm working on it." "That's honest," she said again. "Most guys would lie and say they're completely over it, trying to seem tough or whatever." "I'm not most guys." "No," she agreed. "You're not." When we parted ways, she gave me her number. "Call me if you want to do this again," she said. "Or don't. No pressure either way." I called her 3 days later. We met for dinner, then for a movie, then for a hike at a state park an hour outside the city. Easy dates, casual conversations, nothing intense or dramatic. She didn't push for information about Monica, and I didn't volunteer it. We just existed together, two people getting to know each other. It felt normal, safe, like maybe I could do this again without it blowing up in my face. 6 months after everything ended, I was driving home from work when I passed the extended stay hotel where Tyler had lived after getting fired. It had been torn down, replaced by a new shopping center with bright signs and fresh paint. A Target, a Starbucks, a chain restaurant I didn't recognize. Everything ends eventually. Everything gets replaced. I thought about Monica sometimes, usually late at night when the house was too quiet and sleep wouldn't come. I wondered if she was happy in Montana, if Tyler had found work, if they'd actually made it work, or if they'd imploded 6 months in when the excitement wore off and reality set in. But the thoughts were distant now, like wondering about characters in a book I'd finished reading. They weren't my story anymore. My phone buzzed. Emily, asking if I wanted to grab dinner. I texted back yes and changed lanes, heading toward the restaurant. Life moved forward whether you were ready or not. The trick was learning to move with it, instead of fighting every step. At dinner, Emily told me about a student who'd finally mastered long division after weeks of struggling. The pure joy in her voice when she described his breakthrough made me smile. "You really love your job," I said. "I really do," she agreed. "Even on the hard days, even when I want to quit, I love it. That's how you know you're doing the right thing with your life, you know? When you love it, even when it's hard." "I don't love my job," I admitted. "No? It's fine. Good even. But I don't love it." "Then why do you do it?" "Because I'm good at it. Because it pays well. Because it's stable and secure and all the things you're supposed to want." Emily set down her fork and looked at me. "That's a terrible reason to do anything. It's practical." "Practical is boring," she said. "Life's too short to spend 40 hours a week being practical." "What should I do instead?" "I don't know," she said. "What do you love?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. When was the last time I'd done something I loved, not something I was supposed to do or expected to do? I don't know, I said finally. I think I forgot. Then maybe that's your homework, Emily said. Figure out what you love, not what you're good at or what pays well, what you actually love. We finished dinner and walked to her car. She kissed me goodnight, brief and sweet, then pulled back with a smile. I like you, Adam, she said. You're figuring things out, and that's okay. Most people just pretend they have it all together. You're honest about not knowing. Is that a compliment? The highest one I know, she said. I drove home thinking about her question. What did I love? I used to love photography back in college. I used to love hiking, exploring new trails, pushing myself to reach difficult summits. I used to love writing, filling notebooks with stories and ideas that never went anywhere. When had I stopped doing those things? Somewhere in the marriage, probably. Somewhere between trying to make Monica happy and working overtime to afford the life she wanted. I'd lost myself trying to keep someone who was never really mine. People think revenge is supposed to feel good. That you're supposed to feel vindicated, powerful, satisfied when you watch your enemies fall. That's what movies teach you. That's what books promise. The hero gets revenge and rides off into the sunset, triumphant and whole. But standing in my empty house 6 months after the divorce, Tyler broke and gone to Montana, Monica humiliated and departed. I felt none of those things. I felt hollow. Not sad, exactly. Not regretful. Just empty. Like I'd spent so much energy hating them that I'd burned out something essential inside myself. I'd won every battle, destroyed them both with calculated precision, and now I was standing in the wreckage wondering what it had all been for. Rita had warned me about this. Be careful, she'd said during one of our last meetings, after the papers were signed and Monica was officially out of my life. Revenge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. That's dramatic, I'd said. That's accurate, she'd corrected. I've seen it happen. People spend so much energy getting revenge that they forget to build anything new. They win, but they don't move forward. They just stand there, surrounded by the ruins of what they destroyed, wondering why they don't feel better. I hadn't listened. I'd been too focused on making them pay, on ensuring they understood what they'd done, and they did understand. They'd lost jobs, relationships, dignity, money. I'd won every battle, executed every move perfectly, but winning didn't feel like I'd expected. I called Rita one last time, just to close out her files and ask the question that had been nagging at me. How are you doing, Adam? She asked. I'm okay, I said. Better, maybe. It's hard to tell. That's honest, she said. Most people lie and say they're fine. Are they? Usually not, she admitted. But they get there eventually. You will too. How long does it take? However long it takes, she said. There's no timeline for healing. Some people bounce back in months, others take years. You just keep moving forward until one day you realize you're okay. That's not a very satisfying answer. No, she agreed. But it's the truth. Listen, Adam, can I ask you something? Sure. Do you regret what you did? Getting Tyler fired? Exposing Monica? All of it? I thought about it. No, I said finally. They earned everything that happened to them. I don't regret that. But, Rita prompted. But I'm not sure it made things better. It made things even, maybe. Fair. But not better. That's the difference between justice and healing, Rita said. Justice makes things fair. Healing makes things better. You got justice. Now you need to work on healing. How do I do that? By living your life, she said simply. By building something new instead of standing in the ruins of the old. You did what you needed to do. Now do what you want to do. We said our goodbyes and I hung up, staring at my phone. Rita's words echoed in my head. Do what you want to do. What did I want? 8 months after the divorce, I bought a camera. Nothing fancy, just a decent DSLR with a standard lens. The kind of camera I'd wanted in college but couldn't afford. I took it to a state park on a Saturday morning, hiking 3 miles to a waterfall I'd read about online. The sunrise was perfect. Golden light filtering through the trees, mist rising off the water, the world quiet except for bird song and rushing water. I spent 2 hours there, taking pictures, adjusting settings, remembering why I'd loved this in the first place, creating something beautiful instead of destroying something ugly. I showed Emily the pictures over dinner that night. "These are really good," she said, scrolling through the images on my phone. "Like, really good. You should sell these or something. They're just hobby pictures. They're better than most professional stuff I've seen," she insisted. "Seriously, Adam, this is what you love, isn't it?" "Yeah," I admitted. "I think it is." "Then do more of it," she said simply. "Life's too short not to." I started taking pictures every weekend. Landscapes, wildlife, street photography in the city. I posted some on social media, expecting nothing, and was surprised when people actually responded. Comments, likes, shares. A few people even asked if they could buy prints. "You should start a business," Dave said when I showed him my portfolio. "Seriously, you're good at this and people want to pay for it." "I have a job," I pointed out. "You have a job you don't love," Dave corrected. "This is different. This lights you up, man. I can see it in your face when you talk about it." He was right. Photography made me feel alive in a way my office job never had. Every weekend adventure, every perfect shot, every moment of pure creation, it all felt like I was rebuilding something that had been broken. Not just my life, myself. Emily and I had been dating for 4 months when she asked about Monica. "You never talk about her," she said. We were at my house, cooking dinner together, moving around the kitchen in that comfortable way people do when they've spent enough time together to anticipate each other's movements. "There's not much to say," I said. "Dave told me she cheated. With her half-brother." I stopped chopping vegetables. "He told you that?" "I asked," Emily said. "I wanted to know what I was getting into. Whether you were one of those guys who says they're over their ex, but really they're just angry and bitter and taking it out on everyone around them." And I think you're working through it," she said. "Which is different from being over it, but that's okay. I'm not expecting you to be perfect." "Good," I said, "because I'm definitely not perfect." "Nobody is," Emily said. She moved closer, taking the knife from my hand and setting it on the counter. "But you're honest, and you're trying, and you're building something new instead of just dwelling on what you lost. That's more than most people can manage." "I destroyed them," I said. The words came out before I could stop them. "Monica and Tyler. I got him fired, ruined their relationship with everyone they knew, made sure they lost everything. And I don't regret it, but I also don't feel good about it. I don't feel anything about it. That probably makes me a terrible person." "It makes you human," Emily said. "They hurt you, and you hurt them back. That's not noble or heroic, but it's understandable. The question is, are you still hurting them?" "No," I said. "They're gone. Montana, last I heard." "Then you're not a terrible person," Emily said. "You're just someone who got hurt and responded in an imperfect way. Welcome to being human. We all screw up sometimes." She kissed me then, and for the first time in months, maybe years, I felt like myself. Not the husband who'd been betrayed, not the man seeking revenge, just Adam, flawed, healing, moving forward. A year after the divorce, I quit my job. It wasn't dramatic. No grand speech, no burning bridges. I gave my 2 weeks' notice, worked them professionally, and left with a good recommendation and my 401k intact. My boss was confused. "You're getting promoted next quarter," he said. "Why would you leave now?" "Because I don't love it," I said honestly. "And life's too short to spend it doing something I don't love." "What are you going to do instead?" "Photography," I said. "Maybe teaching workshops, maybe selling prints. I don't know yet, but I'm going to figure it out. He thought I was insane. Maybe I was. But I'd saved money during the marriage, lived frugally since the divorce, and had enough cushion to take the risk. If it didn't work out, I could always get another office job. But if I didn't try, I'd spend the rest of my life wondering what if. Emily thought it was brave. Most people just complain about their jobs and never do anything about it, she said. You're actually taking the leap. Or I'm having a midlife crisis at 35. Maybe both, she said with a grin. But at least it's an interesting crisis. My first client was a wedding, a friend of Sarah's who needed a photographer and was willing to take a chance on someone new. I showed up nervous, shot 600 photos, and came home exhausted but exhilarated. When I delivered the final images, the bride cried. "These are perfect," she said. "They're exactly what I wanted. Thank you so much." That's when I knew I'd made the right choice. The business grew slowly. Word of mouth, social media, a website Emily helped me build. Nothing dramatic, but steady. Weddings, family portraits, corporate events. Enough to pay bills and build a reputation. I was happier than I'd been in years. 18 months after the divorce, I ran into Monica's mother at a grocery store. I almost didn't recognize her. She'd aged, or maybe I'd just forgotten what she looked like without the forced smile she wore at family dinners. She was in the produce section, examining tomatoes with that careful scrutiny people use when they're killing time more than shopping. "Adam," she said, spotting me before I could escape. "Hello." "Mrs. Palmer," I said. "You can call me Jean," she said. "We're not family anymore." There was no bitterness in her voice, just statement of fact. I appreciated that. "How are you?" she asked. "Good," I said honestly. "Really good, actually. I heard you quit your job, started a photography business." "Word travels fast." "Small town," she said with a shrug. "Monica told me. She still has mutual friends here." The mention of Monica's name didn't sting like it used to, just a dull acknowledgement of something that used to matter. "How is she?" I asked, surprising myself. "Pregnant," Jean said. "She and Tyler are expecting in March." I waited for the gut punch, the surge of anger or jealousy or pain. It didn't come. Just mild surprise and a strange sense of relief. "That's nice," I said. "I hope it works out for them." Jean studied my face like she was trying to determine if I was lying. "You mean that?" "I do," I said. "I'm not angry anymore. I'm just living my life. They can live theirs." "You're more generous than I would be," Jean said. "What Monica did, what they both did, it was wrong. I told her that. We don't talk much anymore." "I'm sorry," I said, and meant it. Whatever Monica had done to me, Jean was still her mother. The gallery opening was packed. White walls, polished concrete floors, my photographs hanging in neat rows with little plaques underneath. "Adam Foster, Nature's Reclamation," read the banner above the entrance. Emily squeezed my hand. "Nervous?" "Terrified," I admitted. "Good," she said. "That means it matters." Dave appeared with champagne, grinning like an idiot. "Look at you, Mr. Fancy Photographer. I remember when you were just a sad, divorced guy drinking beer at a sports bar." "That was 2 years ago," I said. "Exactly. 2 years from rock bottom to art gallery opening. That's pretty damn good." He wasn't wrong. The photography business had exceeded every expectation. What started as wedding gigs had evolved into corporate work, then nature photography that somehow caught the attention of a gallery owner in the city. Now here I was, selling prints for prices that made me uncomfortable, but apparently made sense in the art world. "I'm proud of you," Emily said quietly. She'd moved in 6 months ago, her teacher's salary combining with my unpredictable income to create something stable. Different from what I'd had with Monica, but better, built on honesty instead of illusion. The gallery owner clinked a glass, calling for attention. She gave a speech about my work, about capturing beauty in decay, about finding hope in destruction. Pretentious art speak that probably meant something to someone. Then I saw them. Monica and Tyler standing near the back. She was noticeably pregnant, maybe 7 months, wearing a dress that probably cost more than it should have. Tyler looked the same. Older, maybe, more tired, but still that easy smile. My first instinct was to leave, to walk out the back exit and let Emily make excuses. But I was done running from my past. "Give me a minute," I told Emily. "You sure?" "Yeah," I said. "I'm sure." I walked over slowly, giving them time to leave if they wanted. They didn't. "Adam," Monica said. "Hi." "Monica." "Tyler." Awkward silence. 3 people who'd destroyed each other standing in an art gallery pretending to be civilized. "Your photographs are beautiful," Monica said finally. "Really beautiful. I didn't know you were this talented." "I didn't either," I said. "Turns out I had time to figure it out after the divorce." She flinched. Good. Some wounds should leave scars. "We wanted to apologize," Tyler said. "For everything. What we did was wrong. We were selfish and stupid and we hurt you. We know that." "Okay," I said. Monica looked confused. "Okay? That's it?" "What do you want me to say?" I asked. "That I forgive you? I don't. That I'm still angry? I'm not. What you did broke something in me, but I rebuilt, different, maybe better. So yeah, okay, apology noted." "We're trying to do better," Monica said, one hand on her stomach. "Be better. This baby, it's a fresh start for us." "Good luck with that," I said, and I meant it. Not because I'd forgiven them, or because I wanted them to be happy, but because I genuinely didn't care anymore. Their lives, their choices, their consequences. None of it was mine to carry. "Are you happy?" Monica asked. The same question everyone kept asking, like happiness was the ultimate revenge. I looked across the gallery at Emily, laughing with Dave about something, at my photographs on white walls, at the life I'd built from the ruins of what they'd destroyed. "Yeah," I said. "I really am." "Good," Monica said, and she sounded like she meant it. "You deserve that." "So do you," I said. "Despite everything, I hope the baby brings you what you're looking for." Tyler extended his hand. I stared at it for a moment, then shook it. Not forgiveness, just acknowledgement. This was the end of something that should have ended 2 years ago. They left shortly after. Emily appeared at my elbow. "You okay?" "More than okay," I said. That was closure I didn't know I needed. "They seem different," Emily observed. "People change," I said. "Or they don't. Either way, it's not my problem anymore." The gallery owner sold 3 prints that night. A couple from Seattle bought the largest piece, a photograph of a forest reclaiming an abandoned building, nature growing through broken windows, moss covering concrete, beauty emerging from destruction. "It speaks to me," the woman said, "about resilience, about things that seem broken, becoming something new." "That's exactly what it is," I said. Driving home, Emily was quiet. Then, "Do you think they'll make it? Monica and Tyler?" "I don't know," I said honestly. "Relationships built on betrayal have bad foundations. But maybe they'll prove me wrong. Maybe the baby will change everything." "Would you want that?" Emily asked. "For them to be happy together?" I thought about it carefully. "I want them to be happy separately from me," I said finally. "Their happiness or misery doesn't affect my life anymore. That's the real freedom, I think. Not forgiveness, just indifference." "That's very evolved of you," Emily said with a smile. "I had good motivation," I said, reaching for her hand. "Hard to stay bitter when you're building something better." We got home to the condo I'd bought downtown, the one with floor-to-ceiling windows and no ghosts. Emily made tea while I checked the gallery's website, seeing the red "sold" stickers appearing on my photographs. 3 sales on opening night, she said, reading over my shoulder. That's good, right? That's very good, I said. My phone buzzed. Dave, texting a photo from the gallery. Me talking to Monica and Tyler, all 3 of us looking awkward but civil. Historic moment, his message read. You didn't murder anyone. I laughed and showed Emily. He's not wrong, she said. 2 years ago, would you have handled that as well? 2 years ago, I would have burned the building down rather than be in the same room with them, I admitted. And now? Now I'm just glad they left before buying any of my work, I said. That would have been weird. We sat on the couch, Emily's head on my shoulder, comfortable silence filling the space. Outside, the city lights flickered like stars, and I thought about the journey from that Tuesday morning when I found them on the kitchen island to this moment 2 years later, sitting in my own place with someone who chose me every day. Rita had been right. Justice made things fair. Healing made things better. I'd gotten justice by destroying them. I'd found healing by building something new. Thank you, I said to Emily. For what? For showing me what a real relationship looks like. For not being crazy. For just being you. She kissed my temple. Thank you for taking the time to heal before dating me. For not making your ex-wife my problem. For becoming someone I could actually build a life with. That's a low bar, I joked. You'd be surprised how many men can't clear it, she said. We stayed there until midnight, talking about the future instead of the past. About maybe buying a house together, about Emily's promotion at school, about my next photography project. Plans built on solid ground instead of shifting sand. Monica and Tyler had taught me what I didn't want. Emily was teaching me what I did. That night, before sleep, I deleted the surveillance footage from my laptop. All of it, every timestamp, every angle, every piece of evidence I'd collected. I didn't need it anymore. The divorce was done, the revenge complete, the chapter closed. Keeping it would be like keeping poison in my medicine cabinet. Sure, I might never use it, but why risk it? Emily was right. Life was too short to spend it being practical, too short to carry grudges, too short to keep evidence of old wounds when you could be making room for new joy. I fell asleep thinking about tomorrow's sunrise shoot, about the portfolio I was building, about the life I was living. Not the life I'd planned with Monica. Something different, something better, something mine. 2 years from rock bottom to art gallery opening, Dave had said. But really, it was 2 years from destruction to creation. From watching my marriage die on a surveillance camera to building something beautiful through a camera lens. From revenge to resilience. From broken to whole. The morning after the gallery opening, I woke up to 17 new emails. More print sales, interview requests from photography blogs, an inquiry about teaching a workshop. You're officially successful, Emily said, reading over my shoulder as she drank her coffee. I'm officially busy, I corrected. Same thing. Maybe it was. Maybe success was just finding something you loved and convincing other people to pay you for it. Maybe it was waking up excited about the day instead of dreading it. Maybe it was sitting at breakfast with someone who made you laugh, planning adventures instead of exit strategies. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Is this Adam Foster? A woman's voice, professional. Speaking. This is Jennifer Hartley from Sports Co. I believe you know my former employee, Tyler Morton? My stomach dropped. Here it comes, I thought. Legal action, harassment claims, something. I know him, I said carefully. I wanted to thank you, she said. That anonymous email you sent 2 years ago? It started an investigation that uncovered systematic fraud in our regional management division. Tyler was just the beginning. We found 5 other managers falsifying reports, stealing time, embezzling. Your tips saved the company millions. I was quiet, processing. I know it was you, she continued. The IP address traced to your office building, though you covered your tracks well. I wanted you to know that what you did, even if it was for personal reasons, had a larger positive impact, so thank you. She hung up before I could respond. What was that? Emily asked. Closure, I said. Unexpected closure. I'd gotten Tyler fired out of revenge, but apparently revenge had consequences beyond what I'd intended. Not just destroying Tyler, but protecting others from his fraud. Not just justice for me, but justice for an entire company. Maybe revenge wasn't always just poison. Maybe sometimes it was chemotherapy, destructive but ultimately healing. Or maybe I was overthinking it. Come on, Emily said. We've got a sunrise shoot to catch. We drove to the mountains, arriving as the sky turned pink and gold. I set up my camera, framed the shot, waited for the perfect light. Through the viewfinder, I saw exactly what I'd been looking for. Not destruction reclaimed by nature. Just nature. Pure, beautiful, untouched. No ruins, no past. Just possibility. I pressed the shutter. Click. A new image. A new beginning.